Astronauts report it feels good. T-minus 25 seconds. 20 seconds and counting. T-minus 15 seconds. Guidance is internal. 12, 11, 10, 9. Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff. 32 minutes.
Is there anybody out there that wants to roll? And is there anybody out there that wants to boogie? Tonight, live from the Apollo, Glasgow.
Well, if you're looking for trouble, I'm the man to see. If you're looking for satisfaction, it's satisfaction guaranteed. I'm as cool as a body on ice. Hotter than the rolling dice. Send you to heaven, or take you to hell. I ain't fooling, count your tail. I'm alive.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to Glasgow Apollo Live. My name is Scott MacArthur. And he has
And
forgotten
you nearly
his name.
said Andy Muir. And my name is
No, I
Andy Muir. Good evening, everyone.
Thanks for tuning in to some more. Thanks for tuning in for some more music, memories, and absolute mayhem. It's great to be back. This is show 20. Yes, we're getting there, or 21, whatever you want to. It depends how you want to count it, mate. But thanks very much for tuning in, everybody. How are you this
Thank you.
week? You all right?
How am I? Yes, not bad. Not bad this week.
Listening to anything?
Yeah, some stuff. I did have a little bit of a delve into once again, forgotten again. Billy Rankin.
Oh my gosh! Right, okay, mate. What brought that
I
on?
was reading his blog. If you want to have a good read at a blog, go to Billy Rankin. It's very funny, very good, very musically, a lot of music in it, and he's very funny, and he some great stories. Great stories.
Who was he again?
Who was he?
Aye, Nazareth.
He was in Nazareth.
Yes, the brain's working.
He was also in Alex Harvey band, I think. Oh no, he was in Zal Clemson's band for a little while.
Right, okay.
He was in some bands himself, and he was a solo artist. And I don't know why. Well, it looks like he had mismanagement, and it didn't help. But you know, he did some good songs.
Good.
Really good songs, and he's a funny guy. I used to love him on rock radio, the late lamented rock radio, because I could listen to him at work because he was on late at night, and I was I was at work here because I'm in Australia, if you don't know, and yeah, he's very good, very good guy.
That reminds me, if you're new to the show, please put your name and your where you are in the world in the comments. That would be fantastic. The other piece of admin that we have to do every week, guys, forgive us if we do this every week, but if you want your name to appear in the chat, the last announcement in the chat, I've put it in there. If you want to go into the Facebook group and just click on the link that says chat.restream.io/Facebook, that'll in 3 clicks, biff baff boff, bang, and you're in, and we can see your name rather than you being that's four.
That's four.
That would mean rather than you being Facebook user in the chat, we can see who you are. So that'd be great. So I've had a funny week. I've been kind of not been sleeping very well for some reason. I mean, I've not drank all week. I think probably Raymond's fault coming into the after show Zoom last week late and drank to about 3:30. I've just haven't drank since last Friday, so it's back on tonight though. But so I've had a funny week. I've not got as much done as I normally do. But and as far as music, what I've been listening to, I've gone all symphonic this week. I've been listening to John Luther Adams. I don't know if you know him. He's the guy that he won a an award for his piece called "Become Ocean." I love it. I've been listening to that, and I've been listening to.
Did he play the Apollo?
Say again, mate.
He didn't play the Apollo.
No, he never played the Apollo. No, he's Canadian. Don't think he's been in Scotland. He did a gig in Perth once. He's not famous or anything, but I love him. And then I've been listening to Nightwish quite a lot this week. A bit of operatic rock, which has been quite good. So it's not been a bad week. Right, let's see who's all in. Oh, I recognise some of these names. Good to see so many of you. Don't know if you saw. Hi, David. David Renfrew. I'm not going to say David from Renfrew this week, David. Thought you may have been taken off again. Yeah, we were a few seconds late because my son came in and nicked my phone. And we usually gauge it to the second on there, and he nicked my phone. So sorry about that. James. Hi, James. How are you tonight? I'm nearly dead. I don't feel well at all. Oh, my goodness. Is that post-health genre of health? Or anyway, yeah. Those of you who tune in regularly know what I'm getting at. Raymond, good everyone. He means good evening, don't you, Raymond? How you doing? Good to see you. Tony Robin, how you doing? Hi, Tony. How you doing? Hiya.
Oh, he just said evening, everyone.
Well, he did later on. I think he said late. No, he did. He did. Look. Good everyone.
I can't see that. I think you're just making it up.
Cheryl, hello, evening guys, evening everyone. How you doing? Ian, hi all. Nice to see you, mate. There's Raymond saying he's spotted his silly. Oops. Good evening. Chris is here. Hi, how you doing? And we've got Barry Booth saying Naz and Rock Radio. Yeah, absolutely. That's right. He presented in Rock Radio. Sorry, mate. I was listening, but I wasn't listening. It's just clicked now.
Yeah.
Sorry,
he's very good. He's very good, very entertaining.
Aye, knowledgeable.
And, and he has a book, so you should go and find it. I don't know if it's still in print, but go and find it.
He'd be quite a good guest, wouldn't he?
He would be.
That's an idea.
I was trying to work out if he actually had played the Apollo.
Yeah, be good to find out. And Tommy's sitting multitasking between us, the darts, and the golf. Oh yeah, the American Masters is on, isn't it? I quite like that. I might. James been listening to XTC this week. All right, okay. Went a bit soft in the heat. Yeah, I'm not going to argue with that. Look, here you go. Facebook user. See if you'd clicked. If you'd clicked, Andy, you've got me on the thing.
I know.
Facebook user, if you'd clicked, we could know who you are calling.
All right, okay. Went a bit soft in the heat. Yeah, I'm not going to argue with that.
What are you doing?
Sorry. Is that someone saying Facebook user?
Hi.
Oh man, I should fix myself. What, like that?
Is that you, you bucket?
Is that? I don't know.
Hiya, Mac. How you doing? Thanks for joining us once again. Right. So this week, we've got. Now we're taking. Oh God, he's in a mood. We're taking a risk. We've got a bit of video, but we're not going to play it right to the very end, and we've taken the music out. But we both love this. We've never. Well, certainly, I don't. Had you seen it before?
I saw it moments before you. I actually had seen it before.
Had you
seen that bit before? Yeah.
It's absolutely brilliant. Jim Grennan sent it, so and it's got very few hits on YouTube. So, like last week, when folk hadn't seen the piece we showed last week, the Genesis piece. We hope you enjoy it. I'm really looking forward to it. And then we've got a real grumpy old sod to close the show. Well, but second to the end of the show. I bet you can guess who it is. But we spoke about him last week as well in the after show. So sorry, it's Rush fan Malky. How you doing, Malky? Look, where am I? Look, guys, look, see, Rush. Look. I put my bobbleheads up this week. That's what we need. We need a Tom Russell bobblehead.
Oh.
All right, oh dear.
Maybe. I don't know.
Anyway, so let's have a look at who played this week, mate, will we?
Yeah.
Well.
This week, what a cracking week. Lots of gigs here this week. David Bowie and the Buzz and Boz and the Sidewinders. That must have been probably the first time he played. I think he played at the Apollo. and I've no idea what they sounded about.
No.
I don't even know what Boz and the Sidewinders was. Don't know. Pentangle, are they a proggy folk band?
Folky twiddly proggy, yeah. Not bad, actually.
Roxy Music, they're Roxy Music, they'd be very good. And Lloyd Watson, I did not investigate Lloyd Watson, although I did investigate Sharks, because they had I think it was Derek McAdam told me that they had Andy Fraser from Free in them. And,
did they?
You know, I like Free.
Yeah.
So I wanted to go and see how they were. And that's why I went down that little Andy Fraser band route with you.
That was interesting.
Yeah, that was good. But Sharks, I didn't really like the singer, but they were okay. If Andy Fraser's writing the songs, they must have been okay. But he left shortly after and went to form the Andy Fraser band. Hawkwind, they would probably be their psychedelic self.
Yeah, loud.
Not sure. Would Lemmy have been playing then, or was it a bit early for them? There. New Seekers. Were they on top of the world? Was it them? I can't remember. Or they're Australian, the New Seekers.
Are they? Okay.
No, I can't remember. I don't think they are. Sorry. I'm thinking of someone else. New Seekers. I don't know. I can't remember.
Somebody will know.
The old Seekers were like the Seekers. Maybe that's why I'm getting confused. Steve Harley and the Cockney Rebel. No, that would have been a cracking gig. I would like to hear people reminisce about going to see the New Seekers. See if it was any good. Like last week when people went to see Andre Crouch. Was it Andre Crouch?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Andre Crouch, yes. And I didn't think anyone would have gone, but
quite a few
people did. Yeah, quite a few people did. You mean people like what they like? Camel and Hazard / Barnes. I got the impression that Hazard and Barnes were just a country and western band, but that's just my my prejudice.
Yeah, I was thinking why Hazard, a band country and western, will be supporting Camel though.
Yeah, I know, that's what I mean. Yeah, it's a bit weird. Yeah. Dukes of Hazzard. Barnes.
I was immediately thinking of Jimmy Barnes.
I'm wrong, but Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons, probably that would have been, if you like that stuff, it would be amazing, because they put seasoned professionals there doing all that stuff. RJ Stone, someone sent me a link to that in when I put up the gig list, and I had listened to that song. That's a nice song. Their big hit was a nice song. It was a good song. Fleetwood Mac and Charlie. I listened to that last night, that gig, because Jack McCafferty of Rescued Recording has put it on his free Friday. Free Friday.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah, but semantics. It's all in the semantics. It's all in the words. And Charlie. A guy was saying they were like FM and Thunder and Honeymoon Suite, but I couldn't really hear it. They were more another pair. I think it was Ian Bamford said they were more like Steely Dan, and I could definitely hear the Steely Dan. I couldn't hear the Thunder or the FM, but just rock them up a bit, probably, maybe they would be. But I could hear they were all right, actually. They were not bad, but they did have I think I said this in the chat. They had an album called Lines, which I thought was pretty funny. A band called Charlie, and they had an album called Lines.
Yes.
I don't know if it was intentional. Is it?
Yeah, possibly.
Manfred Mann's Earth Band was Paul Jones still with them then? I think Paul Jones was in them.
I think he was.
Yeah. Rory Gallagher and Joe O'Donnell. Many of our viewer would be at that gig, because Rory was a big hero in Glasgow around that time, with his flannel shirt and his rocking guitars. Shawadi Wadi. Another, was that their height of their fame? Yeah, it would be 80s.
It would be,
yeah. So they'd be rocking that.
Yeah.
In both ways, rocking and rolling.
Good man.
The brothel creepers would have been out that night. You know, they just call them creepers now. Those shoes.
Is that right? Do they?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. I mean, I'm probably to save embarrassment when you're talking to your children. Hey, get your creepers on. What am I talking about? I don't know.
Right. No idea.
Gloria Gaynor. I should have looked her up, but I didn't. I'm pretty sure that would have been a good gig, and lots of people from the Apollo would have been from Glasgow and surrounds would have been there.
Certainly.
John Miles. I think Derek McAdam put a post up about that, and there was a bit of confusion about John Miles and John Mills. Someone was having a bit of confusion, or they just were a bit. They were a bit confused. I was a bit confused reading the post. Yes, there we go. Get your creepers on. I'd love a pair of them.
Me too.
Brilliant. I'd be 5'8".
Yeah, I'd be 5'10".
Yeah. John. Frankie Miller.
Yes.
Yes, that, good. I think someone said that gig was not well attended, but well, it was like half attended, but half attended in the Apollos. So
Not bad.
it's 1,500.
Yeah.
So it's over 1,500. So that's pretty good anyway if you're playing a gig in Glasgow. And Jerry Rafferty, another Paisley buddy. He's not another Paisley buddy because Frankie Miller's not from Paisley. He's from Brixton, I think he is. He was supported by Richard and Linda Thompson. Have you heard of them? Have you heard?
Oh yeah, Richard Thompson is one of the great folk guitarists and songwriters of all time.
She's a good singer too. He's a really good singer, and they're a good band. Tom Morton of Beatcroft Social. If you want a good podcast to listen to and plays good music, Beatcroft Social. Look it up on the Googles. It's very good. He's very good, and ex of Radio Scotland. He still does Radio Scotland shows sometimes, but go and have a listen to his stuff. He's very good. Jethro Tull. That was before he lost his voice, no doubt. Fluting away like mad, standing on one leg, no doubt.
He was amazing back then. He was brilliant.
Yeah. I mean, when I saw them here, and he's a great showman, and plays the flute. He's amazing on the flute.
Absolutely.
Could have done with a second vocalist. I think Ian Bamford told us one time that he did have a second vocalist.
Yeah.
To cover him, but yeah. Well, if you could do it if people put up with it, they can imagine it in your head how good it is. Elkie Brooks. I went down a little bit of an Elkie Brooks wormhole, pardon that expression, but she was brilliant.
Oh yeah, she had a great voice.
I think I probably had a bit of a crush on her, and it was resurrected.
I'm not surprised. She's gorgeous.
Yeah, she was gorgeous. Yeah. And she is such a great singer, and I think she was still touring until last year, but I think the COVID thing has stopped that tour. But she's still, I think she'll probably rebook, but really good. Pearl's a singer. Wow, amazing. And I saw her doing Lilac Wine. Jeez, that was amazing. And she does it so well. There's a YouTube video of her doing it, and it's it's up there. I mean, it's up there with Jeff Buckley for that.
Really?
And, Sky, you like Sky, didn't you?
I liked them a lot, actually. Yeah, they were great.
Yeah. And then there's Elkie doing another gig. Oh, that's right. Sky were in between. Oh no, they weren't. It was a different year. So she must have had a sort of cycle where she did an album and released it in March, April. Yeah, because she's done 3 gigs in different years in April. Wow, what a nerd I am. The Jam and the Questions, no doubt that would have been a cracking gig. 2 nights at Glasgow, obviously popular, and Jam were a good band. I'm not sure about the Questions, but I did see a ticket that said local band. Who was that local band?
I've got it. We've got it.
Oh.
Somebody, who was it? Elizabeth Sharkey. No, it wasn't it? It was a band called APB, but I'll come back to that. APB.
Why didn't you tell me? I could have updated my database.
Well, I'm going to tell the story when we talk after you've done your beautiful rundown.
All right, okay. Right, Blackfoot and Samson.
Yes.
Were we at that gig?
I think you might have been. I wasn't. I think that was when I defected to the dark side, gone to Edinburgh.
82? You in Edinburgh in 82?
I was. No, wasn't it? No, wasn't it?
No.
84 I went to Edinburgh. All right. No, I wasn't at it. I remember certainly some of the guys went. I don't think I went. And if I did go, I certainly can't remember. But no, I've seen Blackfoot, but I don't think it was then.
I seem to have recollections of seeing them. And Samson with Nicky Moore, because he was a singer then.
Yeah.
Then Elkie again. Doing some... I mean, she was really good. She was top notch. And then Tears for Fears and Vitamin Z. I've listened to this gig, that whole gig. That was a great gig.
Great gig.
I think that's on YouTube. Like I think you were saying earlier in the week that you like you can't regret what you.
No, but I wish I had gone to see them. They're one of the few pop bands that were more than a pop band. You know, they were terrific, and the stuff they do an album like every 10 years. You know, but
well, yeah, I did listen to the. I think I've mentioned it before on here. There's a podcast called Rock on Tours with Guy Pratt and Gary Kemp, and Guy Pratt is played on every album ever. You know, he's the same age as us, and he's played on Pink Floyd, Robert Palmer, Whitesnake. He's played on them. He has a great book called My Bass and Other Animals.
Yeah, you sent me that of Easy News years ago. It's an excellent book. It's a really good book.
He's good. But that podcast, Roland Osbal was on that, and he was explaining that they do an album every 10 years or whatever, you know. But him and the bass player, the other singer, I mean, they're friends, but they're not friends, you know.
Yeah.
They're not super tight, but when they come to the studio, they're great at doing music.
Yes.
And so they're really good. So that's this week's rundown. Great week.
Really good week.
Some bands that mostly all of the bands that I'd like to have seen.
Yeah. I'm definitely
all of them. Yeah.
I was just trying to...
Yeah. Probably when I was a kid, I probably would have went, nah. But now you're a bit older and your tastes are wider.
Slightly more sensible. But, we have got a lot in the chat, mate. Hold on. There's the book.
Oh, yes.
There's the book that Andy was talking about, by Guy Pratt. My Bass. It's a really, really good book, and it so looks like my Jota from school, mate.
Yeah, it does. It looks like my Jota as well.
Aye, it's quite funny. He's definitely hit a chord there. So let's have a wee look at it. Unbelievable. Oh gosh, guys, there's a lot here. We might not get through all of this. Thanks very much. It's amazing. Let's start with there you go. There's Pentangle from David. Hit single was Take Three Girls, Bert Jansch. Really? Oh, Bert Jansch was on guitar. See, I should know that. Embarrassing. Anyway, Facebook user, my lighty up thing here should be 20. Well, there's some debate whether it was the first show was a pilot. So
some debate
in my head.
In some circles, there is debate.
Yeah.
You've been a politician.
I would be an absolute.
Do the politician thing. Do the politician be say? People have said. What people?
Right. Anyway, thank you.
Tell me their names.
James is saying, I like Sky, the orchestral prototype A. Yeah, I love them because obviously John Williams is probably the best public classical guitarist has ever been, apart from Segovia. Absolute genius. And I loved their albums. They were great. They were real, I guess they were quite prog crossover type music. And I saw them once at the Edinburgh Playhouse. And to be honest, it was okay. It did. I mean, they started with Toccata, and then they did Bach's Buri, which Jeff Rotal do as well. That one, absolutely fantastic. And John Williams is just amazing. But Here we go. Here's some.
I forgot John Williams was in it. How could I forget?
Well,
that was daft.
Was Frankie Valli not late December 63? That what? Right? Is there a mistake that Jim's just pointed out?
I think that might be a joke.
Ah, right. Okay. Well, I don't know. They always go over my head. Here's Ian. Here's Ian, the quizmaster, keeping us right here. Hazard lead singer turned up in Slade replacing Noddy. Shite. One of the few gigs I've walked. Why did you go to a Slade gig without Noddy?
Maybe he didn't know.
Ian Banford didn't know that Slade were touring, and they didn't have. He knows their DNA strands, mate. He doesn't. Yeah. Come on.
Maybe before the internet.
Maybe. Yeah.
You're right, Ian. He also wrote. Ian says Guy Pratt's dad was in Randall and Hawker. He did, and he wrote lots of songs. Co-wrote lots of songs for Tommy Steele.
Is that right?
Yep.
Gosh.
Yep.
Fucking heck. Of course, I knew that. What? Jeez, I've read the book. Anyway, Paul Jones had left. There you go. So the Manfred Mann Earth Band, he wasn't there.
Oh, he wasn't. All right, okay.
Shows you how much
he was doing it himself. Yeah. I just said, was he still there? I didn't say
it was a question. It was a question. I'll give you that, mate. It was a question. And then James, these shoes give me the willies. Okay. I can actually imagine you in those shoes, James, given what you look like on your Facebook group photograph, and then your snazzy shirt.
Yeah, a pair of drain pipes. Probably doesn't know what drain pipes are, and a pair of brothel creepers.
And Ian's telling us Paul Jones left Manfred Mann in about 67. He was in the blues band by 1980. Yeah, I saw Paul Jones. I love Paul Jones. I saw Paul Jones and in a local church, and I didn't go on fire when I walked in. Went in, and here he is I live near a place called Stone the Wall. Everywhere around here's got funny names like the Slaughters and Morton and Marsh where I live, and you've got Stone the Wall and Broadway. It's weird, and it was this little pub in Stowe, and here's Paul Jones, absolutely brilliant, really good gig. He can one hell of a mouth organ player, and not a bad singer either. Actually, he's got a good radio.
One hell of a mouth on him. Whoa, take it easy, mate. He's very good. He was on the radio for many years. He's given that blues show up on
Radio 2, wasn't it? Yeah, it's great. Is he not still doing that? Is that stopped? Has it?
No, I'm pretty sure he's given that up. Yeah, my dad told me he's given it up.
Right. He was a dude. And here's Derek just reminding us that Elkie sang in Vinegar Joe with Robert Palmer. That must have been brilliant. I'd love to have seen them. And David Renfrew saying the same thing.
All you people who saw all those bands, you're very lucky.
You're very, very lucky. Yeah. The Jam thing we'll come back to, but Ian's saying was at the Jam gig. A few songs from the gig were on the Dig the New Breed live album, were they?
Yeah.
I did not know that. I'll take a wee screenshot of that. I didn't know that. Thanks very much, Ian. Didn't know that. We'll need to listen to them. There is some really good recordings of the Jam at the Apollo. Brilliant.
From that live album.
On that live, maybe. Here's Max saying, yeah, I'll get into trouble. The Sharks had Chris Sperring on guitar, who played with everybody, including Jeff Wayne's live. Oh, War of the Worlds show. Do you know, I've never seen that. Have you ever seen the War of the Worlds show?
No,
I've never seen it. And he's saying, what's he saying here? To promote the band whilst touring on the 19th of February 73, on the way back to London from a gig in Cleethorpes, the car skidded and hit a tree. Fraser suffered injuries to his wrist, and during recuperation had second thoughts about the band. Oh, really?
Okay.
Didn't know that. Didn't know that.
He was somebody bass player.
Oh, it was incredible.
Yeah.
Here's Cheryl Duncan saying, thought Elkie's version of Liliat Wine was better than Jeff Buckley, and I don't say that lightly because I love Jeff. Do you know, I think Andy likes that as well, don't you? You like that version? Yeah. I think you're probably right. She's just amazing. I mean, to go off on an absolute tangent. I was talking to another regular, Derek, who will come back. Derek McAdam was on during the week, and I watched the Tina Turner documentary, and it's brilliant, really good, and it's better than a lot of the other crap. You know, the usual like the Queen documentary, which I didn't like. The Queen film, I didn't like it at all, but didn't even think it was Queen. I don't know who the hell they were trying to be. But anyway, but the Tina Turner one, fantastic, and it reminded me just how good a version of Help she does.
Oh,
bloody
brilliant.
hell! And I was sitting in my settee greeting. You know, it's like Jesus. You know, what a version of that song. And I remember seeing her doing it live. You know, and I remember it being really emotional because it was near the end of the set.
Yeah.
So yeah, fantastic. So thanks, Derek, for taking me down that amnesia
the only
lane.
The only time I saw her was at the SEC.
Shame.
Yeah.
Shame. She was great at the Playhouse. Derek's saying Guy Platt was the Nick Mason sauce for the circus. Oh, right, he was. That's right. He was. Yes, he was.
And Gary Kemp plays the guitar in there too.
Yes.
And he often gets remarked, "Oh, I didn't know you could play the guitar like that, Gary."
Who's this? Barry saying he saw Blackfoot at the Playhouse in Edinburgh on the 10th of April 1982. Yeah, I think that's where I saw them as well, but I don't think it was that.
That'd be the day after. That's the day after.
Day after, yeah. I don't know if that was the... I just can't... I need to have a look at my tickets downstairs because I can't remember. Noddy released these chili nuts, which were lovely, from James. Yeah, they were quite nice. Noddy's nuts. Or was it Nobby's?
Nobby's nuts.
Nobby's nuts. They weren't allowed to use his name or something, wasn't there? I
don't think you could say Nobby's nuts.
No, I know. Ian Bamford. That's why he went to see Slade, because he was going to see the Suite. Ian, see, I knew you weren't that daft, Ian. I knew you weren't that daft. And Dave's saying, I agree with Ian. Slade without Noddy are shite, just like Iron Maiden when they had Blaze Bailey singing for them in the 90s. Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's what was that song? Was it Virus? Ironically, that wasn't a bad song. But yeah, he's not what you'd call he's no Bruce Dickinson, that's for sure. And then we've got here Ian, War of the Worlds show. Also had Herbie Flowers, Walk on the Wild Side. All right, okay, we'll come back to Walk on the Wild Side. Maybe not Walk on the Wild Side, but nearly. James, right, okay, thank you.
Where are we now?
Right, so there's a lot of I'm not going to. No, we really appreciate everybody commenting. It's important. Yeah. So I've gone through them all. So next up we have this. Right, dude, what's been happening on the socials?
This week, many people have joined our fine little website group, Facebook group. We had 46 new users, and we appreciate everyone taking the time out of their busy lives and clicking come on in and have a look at our Apollo Facebook page and share your memories. Been a few cracking, here's my tickets. A few. Right. There's been a couple of arguments about stuff. I mean, you got 9,000 people. You're going to get an argument.
You're going to get Barney's.
Talking about that, we've got 9,117. Actually, 18 new users. Not new users. Users. I love it when they're. I think it's as every week I say. I think it's fantastic. We've got 9,000. I would be happy with.
That's enough.
That's great. It's fantastic. We had 6,101 active members.
Brilliant.
Which is very good. And that there was 52 posts, 1,343 comments, and 3,640 reactions. Most of them going to Derek McAdams' pictures and people going, brilliant, I love it. No, I'm joking. There was a lot of
Derek's a star.
Yeah, he posts a lot of posts a lot. Yeah, he's good. He's got a lot of memorabilia. Oh,
right, okay.
Memorabilia. That's when you forget you've been buried. Yeah, great.
Good.
It's been great. And I'd still think it's amazing if people come in and share their memories.
There's been a few this week.
You can remember. I mean, we can barely remember anything.
No, I know, it's amazing. Although I have to say, I was talking about this the other day, and my brain was gradually. I'm getting better at remembering things again. Like dates and gigs. It's like anything else. You use it or you lose it, don't you? And it's Chris is just saying, "Wow, you're going to need a bigger venue for the get together convention." Yes, if everybody shows up, we'll need to hire the armadillo. But there's a few things, mate, that I thought were really worth mentioning. The few nice ones. Derek put, I've got some pickies as usual. This one, I mean, I know you and I both came in ourselves when we saw this. And you mentioned it earlier, Frankie Miller.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have seen Derek McAdam posted this, and it got a lot of love. And he had Simon Kirk in the band. Then we had a lovely story.
Did he on that tour?
Well, Brian Robertson said that he was. No, it was Brian Robertson and Simon Kirk were in the band. I don't know. It's a bit early for them, I think. But I saw them later with Brian Robertson. But,
not that tour.
Not that. I thought it was the 80s, but I maybe have misread that. Graham Anderson, who's is over in Oz, bumped into Spike from the Choir Boys, who most people on here will know that Spike's been carrying Frankie's candle for a long time, and what Graham said was that Spike's love for Frankie Miller is genuine, and he went on all night about him, was gushing about him, which is lovely.
Well, did I send you that link to? He was doing a whole gig.
Yeah, last week,
a whole gig of Frankie Miller.
Yeah. So I mean, his voice has got a bit rougher than it was in the 80s and 90s, doesn't it? Spikes, but he's still a good singer. I mean, but he's another one.
I'd rather do Frankie Miller than anyone else.
Oh, me too. Yeah. No, too. And then Henry Gorman of the Henry Gorman Band fan is also in the group. Henry, if you're here tonight, thanks for joining us. Seen you and your guys a few times, but he reminded us that he opened for Frankie Miller in the 80s. Which was really nice. So it's nice that there's a lot of love for Frank. And I think I've said before that my brother-in-law was actually Frankie's carer for about 3 years, just after he had his stroke. And apparently Frankie is full of mischief. He's an absolute hilarious guy. Can't speak, but the nurses love him. And Wigsy, William, who's my brother-in-law, William Barclam, absolutely loved him and said he was a real nice guy. So I thought that was really quite nice to I mean, there's so much love for Frankie. I don't think he gets anything like the kudos that he deserves. He does a bunch weirdly amongst musicians, but not in terms of the general public. It's a real shame. So the other one I thought, mate, that was nice was Susan Patterson mentioned seeing King Crimson in the early 70s, and there was a whole debate about they opened up with a song called Lark's Tongues Part 1. And Jamie, Jamie now, can I read your second name? I think it looks like Jamie Muir, actually. Sorry if I've got that wrong, Jamie, if you're on tonight. But he said it was amazing because at the beginning, Jamie Muir came on from the band. Came on at the beginning, banging chains together and blood pouring from his mouth when they were doing the last Tongue song. And some folk thought he'd cut his mouth on the drums or something, but certainly what the folk on the stream were saying was he had blood pellets in his mouth and he was just kidding us on. So that'd have been quite cool. There was I like King Crimson. I saw them in 2019 actually. I saw them at the one of the London gigs, and I mean they're still a hot band, and Fripp can still play guitar. And he's much more interesting than he is when he's got Toya jumping about in front of him with no clothes on. But very, very good. Very good indeed. These ones came up. I don't know if you saw these, mate.
Yeah, I just saw them. That was last night, wasn't it?
Yeah. And
your morning. Sorry, your morning.
There's been a few up about programs, and I think we're going to have a program week because there's so many things going on about programs. But I thought it was really funny. Martin put this up, and you can see there's a spelling mistake in the one on the right, which is really funny. And folk are saying, I bet somebody got their jotters for that. And here's the flyer from Derek for the Blackfoot gig. I mean, I would have loved to be at that.
Oh, Y and R mixed up.
Yeah. I mean, they're spelling, to be honest, a bit like Slade. Their spelling was a bit out the box. But nevertheless, it's and the other thing was that Andrew Jameson, if you're on, Andrew, thanks for this. He said that was the night that the British troops actually arrived in the Falklands. And Ricky Medlock was saying certain things about what the British troops should do to the Falklands, the Argentinians, and I won't repeat that.
Was he on the side of the British?
Possibly, yes, possibly.
Wow, and an American too.
I know. You wouldn't believe it. You wouldn't believe it. And then there was a couple of other things that were quite funny that I thought there was. Andy alluded to earlier when there's an argument in the, and it's quite funny looking at it from afar, because it was between Jack, not Jack, but it was between people talking about the rescued recordings, and I'll put my thing up about rescued recordings. So the rescued recordings is run by Jack McCafferty, Stephen McAnally, and Phil Osborne. I said Steve Wilson last week. I think Steve Wilson's involved, but when he's not making crap albums. But so sorry, Phil, I missed you out last week. But when there's a bit of a debate about Jimmy took offence or wasn't sure if Jack was charging because he used the word free. Classic example of folk falling out over just words. They are free. Yeah. They're always free. But I can actually see where Jimmy was coming from. So it was actually quite funny. It didn't end too badly. We didn't end up fighting each other, but I just thought it was quite funny. And the other ones that I quite liked, there was this jam gig. I mean, I really regret now, mate. I know you say I shouldn't, and you're right, I shouldn't regret it, but I think that jam gig would have been really good. And John Kerr stuck up this on the site, and then Elizabeth Sharkey, who's commented before, Elizabeth came on and said she was up in the gods, and it was one of those nights when the rain was coming through the roof.
Right. Oh dear.
And as you see in the ticket there, guys, underneath plus, it's got and local band. And as Andy and I were saying just in the run through, that local band is quite interesting because it's really stretching the point. The local band was APB, you know what that stands for, from Aberdeen.
Right.
So I guess if you're looking at the Weatherman maps where they make Scotland, and there's normal Britain, there's the map. Scotland does look quite small, but maybe they think Aberdeen and
APB is All Points Bulletin.
It is, I know, but I know it could be the Aberdeen Police Band or something, mate. I have no idea. But so that I thought that was quite good fun. Yeah. Then Mac posted these because, as Andy said earlier, Fleetwood Mac, one of the groups that played this week, and these are Peter Still's photographs, which we've seen before. Fantastic.
Are they? There's no close-up shots of Stevie Nicks there, so I'm a bit
very
disappointed.
disappointing. Yeah, there's only that one on the right-hand side at the top where we're tambourine. It's not enough, mate. I'm sorry, Pete. Pete Still, if you're listening, I know you do sometimes.
That's not her with the tambourine.
Do you think that's... Is it not?
No. Oh, yeah, it is.
I think it is, mate. Yeah. I think it is her.
Yeah,
but no.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
It's a compulsory requirement that any photographs of Fleetwood Mac require close-ups of Stevie Nicks, right? It's a rule.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, so...
Well, I fell asleep listening to that last night, and
what, the bootleg?
That was good. Rhiannon's great, and Dreams was very good. Yeah. So if you need that, want it, go to Jack's rescued recordings. Sign up with Jack, and he's got lots of gigs, over 300, 200, over 300.
I think now, mate. 300.
Now. Over 300 gigs. So sign up with Jack, be his friend, and then he'll get you into the group, and it's all free.
free.
All free.
But I do take Jimmy's point.
He doesn't charge. He only charges post and packaging.
And he's starting doing. He said this week that he's starting to do the CDs again quite soon, which will please a lot of folk. But this week's, as Andy just said, this week's recording, he releases a recording every Friday, and this week it was the Fleetwood Mac gig, so it was really, really good. So
very good.
So
and they do Oh Well. They do a version of Oh Well, which is
great song. An old Fleetwood Mac song, brilliant. I remember I remember seeing the worst ever gig I was ever at my whole life was the Eagles at Murrayfield, and Kenny Wayne Shepherd was supporting them, and he did a version of "Oh Well." Oh, it was brilliant. Kenny Wayne Shepherd,
he is
absolutely brilliant version of it. Enough said about the Eagles; they were bloody awful that night. I know there's a lot of folk like them, but anyway. So before we go on, let's just look at the chat again, mate. Let's see what we've got. Yeah, James was spewing his normal perspective on Phil. James doesn't like Phil Collins. Have you noticed that, Andy? He's not keen on him at all.
He doesn't have to like him.
As a singer or a pop star, good drummer though. Barry saying I saw Henry Gorman Band at the where? Colzini Nook in Kinghorn. Is that how you say it? Cuisini? How you say that? Oh no, I'm going to be getting in trouble again.
Queensy.
I don't know.
It'll be like Kilkeggy.
Yeah. Kilcadgo. What's it? Kilcadzo or something. It's spelled, isn't it? Yeah. David saying he was at the Blackfoot gig. Amazing. Yeah, just amazing. I mean, I went to see the Lynyrd Skynyrd gig where they had a former band called the band formerly known as Status Quo as support, and then Massive Wagons who were brilliant. And actually, Skynyrd were amazing, and I think largely because of Ricky Medlock, because my God, that guy's I don't know how he doesn't sing so much with Skynyrd, because he's also a great singer. I'd love to hear them doing Highway Song or something. That would be great. But those days have gone, to almost quote a Skynyrd song. Somebody's saying the live feed has frozen. Is it just me? Have you got Facebook on, Andy? Is it still running? I think it must be, because I'm getting up to date comments. Ian, you might need to. Chris, you might need to refresh. Sorry, mate. Sorry, I'm in trouble. Maybe everybody's taking the bandwidth up watching the golf. He's saying it's back now. Barry's saying Kunzi. Right, okay. All right, thank you. Right. Normally,
be careful when you say that.
Normally at this point, we look at the Apollo Memories videos, but we're not going to. We're just going to go straight to. Well, I'm going to have a moan. I'm going to do that because I've got to do it because folk
right, okay.
On
you go.
They don't look forward to it, mate, but they expect it. So we're going to have a piece of music now, and
right.
So this is this moaning-faced old sod who did one of the worst albums of all time with Metallica. There's a clue. He did that absolutely shocking album that even Andy can't bring himself to be kind about, I'm sure. Lulu, which is shit. Lou Reed. And this is...
I don't think I've ever...
Don't.
Let my ears...
Don't.
Hear it.
It makes St. Anger sound like a masterpiece, right?
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
it really does. It is that bad. I don't know what they were doing. Well, I think I do know what they were doing, but it wasn't making music. So this is one of the songs, I'm Waiting for a Man, that Lou Reed is absolutely famous for. It was released in 1967 on the Velvet Underground's first album, The Velvet Underground and Nico. And it's about, well, you know what it's about. It's about buying heroin in Harlem. And just for our friend on here, James, there was a quote in the Rolling Stones that said, this was a proto-punk classic steeped in New York grit. So this is Lou Reed from the Glasgow Apollo in 1973 doing his version of the Velvet's standard, I'm Waiting for the Man.
I'm waiting for my man.
like a band. Everybody's paying you, but nobody cares. He's got to work in his suitcase. They got to split because he's got no time to waste. I'm waiting for my man. Oh baby, don't you holler, don't you bawl and shout. I'm feeling good, you know I'll work it on out. I'm feeling good, I'm feeling so fine. Tomorrow, got another sign. I'm waiting for my man. Waiting for my man. I'm waiting for my man.
That was all right,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
I was about to say what you just said. Brilliant organ player.
Oh, absolutely magic. And it was I mean, I'm not because of what he did with. I mean, I know it's completely unfair to brand him an Egypt, but I just thought that because of that Metallica album was so bad, I kind of given up on the Velvets and stuff. But which is not. It's just a stupid thing to do and to say. But I thought it was excellent. I really enjoyed that. I thought it was excellent. And that was from Jimmy, who has a website, a YouTube channel, who was arguing with other guys about all the nonsense with rescue recordings. So
Semantics, mate. Semantics.
I know. And I suspect he knows as well. Well, here's Derek saying, well, who else? Well, Derek would know. You probably know his blood type, Derek, but Ray Colcord. That's an unusual name. James is asking a really interesting, a really unusual question. Has anyone heard Caroline Says 2 by Lou Reed? What a bloody masterpiece. No.
We haven't heard it. Someone else has. But
no, I'm sure they have. But it's quite a few of you like that poster. I see it's a really cool poster, isn't it?
It's a belter.
Yeah, and apparently it hung in the. There we go. Ian said it talking to Chris, saying that it hung in the Victoria and Albert Museum for a few years. Yeah, it's a cracking poster. We should be doing reproductions of these. I don't know if anyone knows the copyright on them or not. I don't know. Anyway, thanks. I'm glad you enjoyed that. I really enjoyed it. It was much better than I expected it to be. So it's been pretty good. Right, now we're going to end, Andy. This is where we might get into trouble. But that's how I put it at the end. We're going to end with this. So our quest to get videos of memories goes on, but to just tweet your interest and get you thinking. This piece came up. Jim Grennan, who's a regular, and if you're there tonight, Jim, thank you very much. You're a great supporter of the website and the Facebook group, and of course live show. And Jim came across this. Pointed us towards this video, and now because we're used to getting kicked off when we play videos with music in, what I've done, I know it's really boring, but what I've done is I've edited out the music. Just so, and Andy and I'll we'll talk across it. We'll have a chat about it because there's not much point in just being silent for the next 3.5 minutes, Andy. There is some talking, but when the band are singing, well, Andy and I can talk. But this is a gig, a much maligned gig actually from 1976, which was the Rolling Stones, and we've had real debates about this on the Facebook group. I don't know if you remember them, mate, but there's been a lot of them. A lot of folks saying the band were pissed and they were rubbish and, all that sort of stuff. But I get that. But this gives you an insight behind it. And actually, the first few minutes, Andy, as you'll remember, kind of shows why they might have been pissed that night, crap that night.
We're on. Like yours, don't come
Oh man, the Rolling Stones are just it, you know. They're the greatest rock and roll band in the world.
So there was a young man who it was well refreshed, but that was backstage at Apollo, and you can see there it's the.
Yeah.
I love that. Look at
there
that.
You go.
Spot yourself, and that's a brilliant
classic view.
I love it.
Yeah. There's young Mick.
So it's lovely seeing the Apollo. Look at that, it's brilliant.
Yeah, it is brilliant. It's very good.
It's one of my
I
favourite.
bet you I wonder if they've got the whole thing.
Well, I doubt it because it goes on to Leicester, doesn't it? The next gig that's on the YouTube.
I know, but they might have filmed the whole thing. You never know.
Maybe, mate.
That's your classic view of the almost front view, front row,
10th row.
Yeah, brilliant.
Just wonder where the hell you are. Yeah, I put a notice out on my bathroom mirror. It says Brussels Hilton, right? So when I wake up, I know that I'm in the Brussels Hilton.
Wow.
Yeah, life on the road, a rock and roll star.
I was talking to you about this. I wouldn't want to be doing this.
It's in the blood, you see. It all comes down to those 2 hours on stage.
Yeah.
They're the reward.
Fantastic. This bit's good, like.
Brilliant. Cheeky monkey.
Absolutely. But,
I went to customs in London about a month or so ago, and this guy who was checking my bag, he says to me, didn't you used to be in that group? You used to be called the Rolling Stones.
And Barry said we should just hum the tune. Look at folk dancing there. I love it. I think it's brilliant. Look at that.
I love playing the drums, and I love playing with the Rolling Stones. I mean, my wife always says I like them more than I do, which isn't true.
Quite chilled there was Charlie, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Chilled.
Oh,
look. What you do on stage, everything else is either building up to it or relaxing after it.
Yeah.
Oh, here he goes.
This is, in no way would I do this. not on that stage.
Yeah. As Tommy says, Keith Suit, you're not kidding. Look at this bit though, guys. Look at this. Look, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
Brilliant.
Absolutely magic.
Another concert is over, and the Stones road crew pull out of Glasgow's Apollo Theatre at the start of their last British tour. In 4 hours, the stage is cleared, the theatre empty, and the circus rolls on.
Oh, well,
quick, off!
Did you see that bit where Keith had the drink there, and he dropped it and picked it?
But, how good
he
is that?
He couldn't have been that much out of his nut if he did that.
That's
maybe it was an accident.
There's young James saying, "I feel like I'm at the bloody Apollo." What a video that is! It is, and I have to say, I think that's my favourite video of all the videos because.
Have you got the link there?
I don't. Sorry, I'll put it on the Facebook group. Sorry, I should have done, shouldn't I? But
just asking what they were playing.
We need to put the link. I can't remember because I edited it about an hour before the show and I was in a rush, so I just had to take it out because I didn't want to. But isn't that brilliant? I love the bits when they're looking at the crowd and you can see everybody. It's brilliant. I think it's really cool. So anyway, we hope you enjoyed this week's show. That's us been on for an hour already. God,
wow,
time machine. Here's
Hold on, Chris. I'll cut and paste that into the chat for you, mate.
Brilliant. Thanks, Andy. But no, it was an absolutely fantastic example of what it was like at the Apollo. And although I know there is a lot of contention about that gig in particular, and they were definitely well refreshed. But as you go on and watch the rest of the video, they got to the Leicester. I think it's the Montford Hall, or it's or the. No, don't take me. I'm not certain of that. But they were a great band, and even if they were pushed, they were still good. So I only ever saw them at I only ever saw them at Hampden. I never saw them in a proper gig. I only saw they were good at Hampden that year. Guns supported them. Remember?
I don't remember.
So I think that's it. I think we're nearly there. There's a couple of things. There's Andy and I are pulling together a little online sort of tribute to the Apollo, which I thought I have. Basically, we're going to put together basically this sort of thing, a live experience, if you like. It's to be called The Story of the Glasgow Apollo, and we're going to do it in September. But this will be a paid event. It's not going to be like this live thing we do. It's going to be a paid event. That'll be advertised in the next few weeks. So we're only going to charge £12 for it, but it's to try and generate some income. So you'll hear more about that in the next few weeks. But we decided to do that this week. There's a platform called Fundsing, which we'll do it on. So that should go live next week. And we're hoping to do that, as I say, to generate some cash, but to actually get the name of the Apollo out there, because the Fundsing community, which is massive, there's like 80,000 people on there. There's quite a large Scottish contingent, but we're quite keen to keep raising the profile of the Apollo, but also make a few quid to help fund the work that we're doing to bring this to you every week. So I hope you don't mind us doing that. But if you have a chance to support us, we'd be delighted, because it would really help. As always, thank you. The merch is going quite well. I'm quite pleased with that. And there's the address there.
I was thinking, this T-shirt here. If anyone wants one of them, I can make one up for you.
Shows it again. Oh, that one. Nice.
Similar to that. This is
Road Crew. Yeah, Stage Crew.
It's Tommy McGrory. I got that from their show. Yeah. That was I need a new one because this is getting old.
Oh, it's getting on. It's getting on. So, and as always, tonight we're going to have an after show Zoom, which is where the mayhem comes in.
Also, if you fancy subscribing on Facebook, no, on YouTube, find the channel on there and then subscribe. That would be a big help.
Yeah, we're at 73 now.
73. Oof.
We need 27 to be able to call it Glasgow Apollo, so it's easier for folk to find, which will completely change his profile. So thanks for reminding me, mate. As always, we have the after show Zoom call tonight, which is when the mayhem tends to happen. So if you want to join us, come. Don't be scared of it. Don't be worried about it. It's really chilled. We've had some real laughs on there. So if you fancy joining us for a drink and a chat, it doesn't need to be about the Apollo, but it tends to be about music. So it'd be lovely if you could join us. And again, I know you can't click on this on this show, but if you go to the Facebook group, it's there. If you can't find it, just drop me and Andy an email at this address, apollomemories@yahoo.co.uk. Sorry, James, we haven't updated that yet, but we will do soon. So let's just double check, see if there's anything else finally on the chat, mate. Saw them at the Barry. Is that the Stones you're talking about? It could be 82. I think that might be right. But there's an idea. Like James has said this. They should make that video in virtual reality for folk my age. Somebody else said that years ago, didn't they? They should do a virtual reality walk through the building. And
me.
We've got some talent. I mean, we've got likes of Doug and you and others that could actually do that. And
we've got the plans.
And we've got the plans, and there's a lot of photographs. So anyway, so we hope you enjoyed that. It's good night from me, Scott MacArthur.
And it's good night from me, Andy Muir. Good night.
Got our names right. Good night, guys. We'll see you next week, if not on the Zoom. All the best. Thank you very, very much for tuning in. We really, really appreciate it. Good night.